Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be holding on to what wasn't there. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So when you were in the relationship, you were holding on. You were holding on to what you thought that relationship was. You were holding on to the possibilities of what would never be. You were holding on to all of the hopes, the dreams, their aspirations that you were told would come true. You were holding on to that person's words, realizing eventually that their actions never matched their words. You see, what you were doing is you were holding on to so much. The person you're considering, they weren't holding on to anything. Keep this in mind, that the person you're considering, the toxic person, they don't get attached to anybody, not one person. Everybody is expendable. Anybody can be played, anybody can be manipulated, and they are loyal to nobody. They don't care about one person other than themselves. But when you were in that relationship, this was foreign territory for you. You weren't taught this in school. You didn't know what you were up against. You didn't know that this kind of behavior took place, and that in fact you were in a relationship with one of these toxic people. You now understand, or you are learning all about what people can do and what they're capable of. And that you now realize that, yes, people can flat out lie to your face. They can lie, steal, cheat. They can do whatever they want to do to manipulate other people, having people hold on to what was never there. Now, having said these things I'm sharing with you, you need to understand that the person you are considering right now, maybe even people, they do not have the ability to love. They don't have empathy. What they want to do is take from other people. They want to take and take and take. And when they're done, what do they want to do? That's right, they want to take more. They want to take as much as they possibly can from people, because the people you are thinking about, they are a parasite, and they were looking for a host. They were looking for someone to take advantage of, somebody who would believe in their words, someone who would be holding on, someone who didn't want to let go of that relationship, someone thinking that they could get back to the inception or the beginning of that relationship, which was the love bomb / euphoric stage. Once you wrap your head around what narcissism is at its core, and that toxicity runs through the veins of the narcissist, they want to dump it or inject it into other people. And they want to steal those people's purpose, their mindset, and their beautiful, bright, shining light for as long as they can. Once you wrap your head around that, it is really, really shocking, amazing, and astonishing to understand how you weren't taught this in school, how you entered that relationship, how long you stayed in it, and that actually you made it out, and that you're healed or you're healing. You see, you beat something you didn't know you were up against. You beat the odds. The odds were stacked against you. You were in an insurmountable relationship that, according to the narcissist, you weren't supposed to ever exit in one piece. You weren't supposed to exist. Now, the narcissist knew exactly what they were doing when they met you. They had done this before to other people. They did it with you, and I'm sure they're doing it with other people right now as they are walking or gallivanting the globe, doing whatever they're doing. But when you were holding on to what wasn't there, that's when you were in the fog, the narcissistic fog. That's when you were in a relationship that was essentially a fake relationship. Now, to you, it was real. But to the narcissist, they were wearing a mask. They were manipulating you. They were telling you things you wanted to hear. They were assimilating themselves with you. They were acting like they were like-minded. They got as close to you as they possibly could. And then one of these pivotal things happened. Again, you either told them you loved them, you moved in with them, you got married, you had children, you went into business with them, you relocated, or you put them up in some capacity financially, or maybe there were other ways. Having said all those things, the narcissist waited, and they waited very patiently to get their hooks sunken into you. And once their hooks were sunken into you, you became attached to them. Again, they never became attached to you, because all they do is try to get as many people stuck in that narcissistic fog as they possibly can. And the more the merrier for them. Example, if they can have 2, 3, 4, 5 people stuck in that dungeon of horrors, in that cesspool of manipulation, or in the trauma bond at one time, that's better for them, because they can just give this person a little dose, they can pull back from that person, they can text that person, they can keep that person hanging, and they can keep that person thinking that they will be the next person to enter the relationship with them. You see, nobody is immune to the toxicity of the narcissist. You're now realizing that, you're understanding that, and when you were holding on to something that wasn't there, that was what the narcissistic relationship was in a nutshell. It was a house of cards. It was a relationship built on no foundation that was stable. It was a foundation built upon quicksand. There was nothing but smoke and mirrors in the narcissist's repertoire. What they wanted to do was sell you a bill of goods, and they wanted to get you trapped and stuck as long and as far and as deep as they possibly could into that narcissistic fog and into that relationship. So you would be clinging on, you would be holding on to what wasn't there. Go back in time to the beginning of that relationship, in that love bomb / euphoric stage. Well, that's when you thought everything was great, it was going swimmingly, and this relationship was getting better and better and better. And maybe you had found your soulmate. Maybe you thought you found the yin to your yang, or the person who would complete you, or your life partner, or the best person ever. That's what you were supposed to think, because the narcissist was mirroring back to you anything that they thought you wanted to hear. And this is why so frequently the narcissists, all they do when they go from one person to the next is they fine-tune their masterful skills of manipulation, and they improve their skill set until they become the AG narcissist, and then they become a shell of themselves, and they can't manipulate nearly the way they used to, because their looks are faded, their wrinkles are evident, the lipo and the Botox and the Brazilian butt lifts don't work any longer, and these people really, really are clinging on to a days gone by. But when you were in that relationship, you didn't know what you know now. You weren't taught this in school, so you were believing in the false narrative of the mask. You were believing in their words, and you were watching their actions not match their words, and you were believing that one day things would change. See, that's what you were holding on to. You were holding on to something that wasn't there. You were holding on to their words. You were holding on to the belief that tomorrow would be a better day, that maybe if you just made it through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that Saturday would be a spectacular day. And you know what? Saturday would come and go. And maybe the narcissist would blow up the day at a barbecue. Maybe they would ghost you. Maybe they would triangulate you. Maybe they would give you the silent treatment. Who knows what they would do? Maybe you had a couple hours of a somewhat stable relationship for a little bit of time there. Then again, that wasn't sustainable. That was part of the mask. They were trying to keep you trapped longer and longer and longer. And the longer you're in these relationships, the more toxicity enters your veins, your aura, your mindset, and your soul, if you will. And all of that is by design at the hands of the narcissist. That's why no one gets out unscathed. That's why there are toxic casualties of the relationship littered all throughout these people's lives and throughout your life now as well. But what happens along the way is you crack the code, you find the needle in a haystack, and eventually you put two and two together and you realize all of the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse, the financial abuse, the physical abuse, and the spiritual abuse that they dished on you or dumped on you, it wasn't yours to hold, it wasn't yours to carry. They had you manipulated, they had you played, they had you stuck in believing and brainwashed that what they were telling you was true. None of it was true, not one word of it, because the narcissist had done this before and they knew that you would be holding on. Earlier in the video I shared with you, they don't become attached to anybody. It's true, they don't. Anybody is interchangeable and everybody's expendable to them. They look at people as opportunities. They look at people as weak, as frail, as pawns, as puppets, as indentured servants, as people who should be worshiping the narcissist and should be getting punished for being themselves. Because at their core, the narcissist is envious and jealous. They're cowards and they're bullies, and they know this. And they want to sell anybody they can, or anyone who will buy what they're selling, a bill of goods and give them absolutely nothing in return but disdain, despair, and a long road of healing ahead of them. Now, having said these things, what was the narcissist holding on when it came to you? Absolutely nothing. They were telling you and selling you and making you believe that they were the best person in the world and you couldn't live without them. You wouldn't find love again without them. You wouldn't find happiness without them. You'll never find anybody like me. You can't get over me. You won't be able to remove me from your mind. They will say things like that, or they'll say other things like, your mom told me I should have married you, or no one likes you, or what's your problem? There's no wonder you don't have any friends, etc. They'll have you believe in their words. Now again, when you don't know what you don't know, you tend to believe those people, or i.e. the narcissist, that is, specifically when your support system has imploded and blown up at the hands of the narcissist, and they are the one person that you're looking to get advice or to talk to about with bounce things off of. But when you're in that relationship and you're looking and talking to the person that you're looking for answers from, this is when you're in it. What you're doing is you're giving them the playbook. You are an open book and you're telling them how to abuse you more and more and more. But you didn't know that because you weren't taught this in school. Now, having said all those things, when you were holding on to what wasn't there, what was there in the relationship for you? Really think about it. Maybe it was a romantic relationship. Did you have a little intimacy here and there? Maybe you did. Was the narcissist really present when they were intimate with you? I doubt it. Who knows? That's up for you to decide. Say it wasn't a romantic relationship. What did you get out of it? Well, you got financially abused. You got your time wasted. You got your mindset stuck. You were consuming verbal abuse. The energy vampire, i.e. narcissist, was zapping your energy. They were blaming you for accomplishments. They were not celebrating your accomplishments. They were having you doubt yourself, etc. You see, you didn't get one good thing out of it. Now, you may say, no, I had some good times in that narcissistic relationship. I'm sure you did. But if you get out that sheet of paper and you write down the pro-con list, the pro means the good things about the relationship, and you write down the negative things, which are the cons, you're going to really open your eyes and figure out exactly what you did get out of it. And whatever you did get out of it that was good, it wasn't even close to all the negativity that you had to heal from. You see, that's what the narcissist does. They want people holding on. The narcissist won't give you closure. They will never come clean and tell you the truth, who they are, what they did, and that they knew what they were doing. What they want to do is keep people stuck, keep people trapped, keep people pining, having people not heal. They want to leave that door open just a crack so they can kick it wide open at a later date, which again is why if you are hooverable, which means you haven't gone no contact and blocked them, etc., I strongly suggest you do so. If not now, when? What are you waiting for? Why would you leave communication avenues open with a toxic person if you haven't healed? Because what they will do is they will still text you, they will still call you, they will still email you when it benefits them, which usually is after a period of time, and they will try to draw you back in and suck you back into that relationship. Next thing you know, you're in it knee deep. Knee deep goes into neck deep, and neck deep goes to you're in the deep end of the pool again, and you don't know how you got there because the narcissist insidiously slid their way back into your life. That's why you really need to understand this is your life. You went for round 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever round you went with the narcissist. Once you wrap your head around who they are and what they did, and you stop holding on to what wasn't there, that's when you really get the courage, the strength, the determination, the fortitude, and the focus and the drive to finally go no contact, etc. Maybe today's the day you do it. Maybe it's tonight. Maybe it's tomorrow. Who knows? But eventually you will do it, and you will need to do it. Because if the narcissist knows you're wounded, if the narcissist knows you're vulnerable, or if the narcissist knows there are avenues of communication that are still not sealed airtight, they will come back when they want to try and test your resolve, to try and test your strength, to try and see if you've actually figured out who they are, to see if you've seen behind the mask, and to see if you have slammed the door right in their face and airtight and glued it, super glued it airtight. You see, this is what the narcissist wants. They want a challenge. They want someone to see if how strong they are to test them. Because before the narcissist met you, I can assure you, they trapped dozens of people in that narcissistic fog. And I would venture to guess that not many, if any, escaped the narcissistic fog. But you are a fortunate one. You are a strong one. You're a resilient one. And you're the one that cracked the code and figured it out. Which is why you need to stop holding on to what wasn't there. You need to stop pining for the narcissist. You need to stop thinking about them, that they did love you, they can love you, they will change, that their words, they didn't mean their words, etc. You need to stop feeling sorry for the narcissist and stop trying to bail them out. You need to stop thinking that their life is more important than yours. You need to stop listening to all the victimhood that they dumped onto you. You need to stop listening to the song and dance of how poor their childhood was, or their adolescence years, or how wrong their spouses or partners did them. The narcissist will sell you a bill of goods as long as you are one of the people in the audience buying a ticket to whatever they're selling. That's why you need to stop buying what they're selling. That's why you need to go no contact, etc. That's why you need to not give these people a second, third, 15th chance. You need to get the message and close the chapter on them as soon as you possibly can. Because when you were holding on to what wasn't there, that's when you were still vulnerable. That's when you're still naive. That's when you still weren't strong enough to go no contact. That's when you're still believing there was just a little bit within you that you were holding on to, that thread that perhaps, yes, something would change. Maybe it would be tomorrow. Maybe it would be over the weekend. Maybe they would finally see the light and come crawling back to you and saying, yes, we can get back into that relationship again. I just figured it out. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I was wrong. I want to do it one more time. No, none of that's true. It's all the acting job. It's all the con job. It's all the snake oil salespeople trying to sell you another bill of goods, which is absolutely nothing but toxicity and keeping you stuck in the cycle. That's why once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's why when you stop holding on to what wasn't there or what isn't there, and when you finally let go, when you let go, that's the unknown, but that's where all of the energy goes back into you. That's when you finally begin to heal. And yes, it will be challenging. Yes, it will be hard. Yes, it will be difficult. Yes, it won't be easy. But when you finally let go of what you're holding on to, and what you were holding on to is absolutely nothing, that's a good thing. Again, it will hurt, it will sting, it will be a challenge. But the sooner you let go, the more you process what that person did, what they're capable of, what they had done to you, and what they've done to so many other people before they met you, and what they're doing to other people right now, and that you're just one cog in the wheel of abuse. When you wrap your head around that, then you say, oh my goodness, Andrew's right, I need to get out of this thing. And yeah, it's gonna be a long road ahead of me. And yes, I'm gonna have to journal, meditate, heal childhood wounds, see a therapist, watch videos, write, slow my life down and process things. But when I do it, I will get stronger. And one day I will reach that pinnacle, that mountaintop of indifference that Andrew speaks about, because that is a real place. It exists. And you may not think it does. It does. Think of all of the hundreds and thousands of people I've helped over the years get to where I am. That is not a made-up place. It's real. And you must remember something before I get ready to close the video. There's no such thing as a coincidence on this planet. I'm creating this video as you're consuming it. You're meant to be consuming it because perhaps this is the day when the light bulb goes off in your head and you switch, you finally get the message that today is the day you go no contact. Today is the day you finally take action and benefit yourself and stop giving the narcissist chances. Today is the day you actually remove yourself and you cut one of the four ties, the financial tie, the physical tie, the emotional tie, or the spiritual tie. Maybe today is the day that you finally crack the code and figured out, wow, I need to get away from this person. I don't want to know anything about them. I don't want them to know anything about me. And I need to really become small, have a small footprint, and begin to heal and get away from them as far as I possibly can. My hope is that day is today, or that day happened a long time ago. So no matter if today is the day that you crack the code and it's your first video, or if it's the 15,000th video you've ever watched or more, understand that if where you are is where you want to be, that's a great thing. If where you are is not where you want to be, there's work to be done. That work must be done by you, for you, and to benefit you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody can do it for you. And when you stop letting go to what isn't there or what wasn't there, or stop holding on to what wasn't there, that's a good thing. It's a great thing, because that means you're now on the road to healing. You're on the road to abundance, to possibilities, to opportunities, and to you finding your purpose, your calling, your moonshot, and to living your best life narcissistic free. That's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. I love you all. God bless you. I love you all. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. And before I close the video, realize that you are an incredible human being. You're intelligent. You're resilient. You're courageous. You're full of strength, fortitude, direction, purpose, and honor and commitment. On top of that, you were targeted. The reason you were targeted is because you are a kind, loving, stable, healthy, empathetic person, and you didn't know what kind of relationship you had entered. Maybe you were born into the relationship, who knows? Maybe it was your friend, maybe it was your romantic interest, maybe it's your sibling, maybe it's your mom or dad, I can't tell you. But whoever that was or is or are, these people knew what they were doing, and they knew who you were way before you knew who you were. And when you're in these relationships, you lose yourself, you lose your sense of self, you lose your identity, and you become an extension to these people. I've said that for 4 years, it's true. Once you crack the code and you get away from them, your identity returns, your clarity returns, your mindset returns, your health returns, your purpose returns, your focus returns, your strength returns. All the abundance comes back to you, and all the toxicity fades away, and it is removed from your essence, your aura, your soul, your mindset, and your veins. And this is when you're on the road to reaching the pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference, where I am standing, waiting for you to arrive there, reaching my arms down and pulling you up. And there are so many thousands of people that are there now also, waiting for you, helping guide you, giving you their wisdom, having you realize you are stronger than you know, and you can do anything on this planet you want to. But to get to where you're going, you need to cut the ties with the people who are holding you back. And at the top of that list, it is the narcissist. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Enjoy your day. I love you all. Bye.